Thank you, Melissa, so much for that introduction and for this award. And congratulations, Shonda, for receiving this award as well. I feel so honored to just be thought of in this way and as a girl hero, but honestly, I am so speechless about the fact that I get to receive this award alongside you, Shonda. You are someone that I have looked up to for as long as I can remember, and especially because I'm currently pursuing a career in the entertainment industry. Being able to talk to someone who has been a champion for diversity and representation in the industry and is just such a powerful woman of color in the entertainment industry is so exciting for me.
Thank you for saying that. But I have to say, I'm excited to be receiving this award with you. The things that you have managed to do at your age and at this moment in time, so powerful and so amazing. And you've done it so quickly. That's what I find so inspiring, is that it's taken me a long time to get where I'm going, but you just right out of the gate, the power and the enthusiasm is so special. So I feel like you're just getting started and you're already rocketing to the top.
It means so much to hear these words from you. I genuinely mean I have looked up to you for a long time, so I'm so excited to talk to you. But Shonda, I don't know if you've heard about Girl Up Storytelling program, but we have a program that encourages girls to pursue careers behind the camera while centering their voices in front of the camera. And your shows have done such an amazing job of portraying so many dynamic characters, specifically women and women of color. And I'm curious, what impact do you hope that this has on the next generation of storytellers and the people watching your shows? And what advice do you have for girls who want to follow in your footsteps, girls like me?
For me, it's really about seeing yourself represented in a way. It was so important for me growing up to have, there were so few representations of women who were like me on television, but when I saw them, it was magnetic. It was magical for me. It was Oprah and Debbie Allen and people like Felicia Rashad, and getting to see women like that, powerful, interesting, amazing women who were like the women I wanted to be, was so important. And I just feel like everybody should get to see themselves on television. And I don't know that I started out with sort of an activist plan as much as I wanted the world to look like the world that I knew. The world I was writing should look like the world that I knew. And so for me, just making sure that that was true was important and still is important to me. And I feel like I want young women to know going into this business that it's possible. It's very important to understand that if you can tell a good story, that is a powerful thing, and there's an audience for it. I feel like that's what I was able to prove early on. And then once that's been proven, people are really hungry for those stories. Everybody wants to hear a story that feels different and fresh and from a new perspective. So everybody's story is powerful and welcome.
Well, Shonda, first of all, I know you said that you wanted to help us help people increase the possibility of them feeling like they can be in these spaces. And I want you to know, as someone who is currently pursuing a career in the entertainment industry, I feel like you have helped pave the path. And I thank you so much for that, for helping me feel empowered to be able to take the step in this direction.
Well, I know one of the nonprofits that you founded is working to fight gender stereotypes and bias before it sort of takes root in young people. What pushed you to start Dream Equal and make its mission that? And how did you end up taking a leadership role? And what advice do you have for people also wanting to make an impact in a world like this and with issues that matter to them?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, it wasn't one thing that just pushed me. It was just a myriad of experiences that I've had growing up that have made me realize that I am not look the same. Everyone's look differently because of their gender, and everyone has gender stereotypes that are pushed onto them. And it was when I was in high school that I realized the impact that this was having on my mental health and the impact that it was having on the different types of careers that I felt like I could find a place in. And it's when I started realizing that I started to research these issues and try to see if there were other people who are feeling the same way that I did. Because honestly, in the place that I grew up, we never talked about feminism. We never talked about gender equality. I didn't even know those words were in existence. So I started researching these things, and I've heard about how gender stereotypes start to develop at the young age of 5. It's at the age of 5 that girls start to think they're not as smart as boys. And it's at the age of 5 that boys start to think that they can't show their emotions. And I started researching different organizations, and unfortunately I wasn't able to find an organization, regardless of how amazing the feminist movement is, I wasn't able to find an organization that was tackling this issue at the age in which it develops. And so it's through finding that gap in the movement and realizing that an ounce of prevention is always worth more than a pound of cure. And so realizing that, I decided I need to start a program that tackles gender inequality at the age in which it develops. Because if we prevent these issues, then we truly can, make a new generation that is empowered in themselves and empowered to be themselves. And that's really what it all was for me. And realizing that, there's a lot of organizations that only focus on girls, and they only focus on older people. And I just wanted one that focused on all genders, because everyone's affected by gender inequality, and we need everyone involved in the movement. So really, that's all it was for me. And that kind of brings me, I guess, to my advice that I have. And the main thing is that I didn't know about feminism when I started Dream Equal. Like, honestly, I think that's just a testament to show that you really do not have to know everything to start it. And if you feel like you need to know everything, then you're never actually going to start, taking action. And so I started, going through and figuring out how to take action. I just literally looked on the internet, and you can do that too. It's very much just realizing that you grow as your movement grows.
I think that's brilliant. I still don't feel like I know everything. And I think that the idea that you're supposed to wait until you're ready, you're never going to be ready. So I think that there's a power and a beauty to that.
Yeah, for sure. Shonda, I'm actually, like I just said, I'm currently pursuing a career in TV and film acting, and I often think of acting as a form of activism for me. And your shows explore so many relevant social and racial justice issues in many episodes. The entire series, explores these things. And I'm wondering, why have you chosen to explore these specific topics, and why is that important to you?
I think I'm telling the stories that reflect where we are right now. I'm telling the stories that reflect where I am right now, where I see a lot of young people are right now. I feel, where we are in the world at this moment, I like to tell the stories that interest me. And those are the stories that are interesting to me. There is a desire to, educate, yes, but I'm not necessarily putting that as my mission. I always say, shows that have as their mission only the desire to educate people are often shows that are called canceled. But what I'm really trying to do is to entertain people, but also get them to think. And if you tell stories that you're passionate about, and you tell stories that are interesting to you, and you tell stories where characters are struggling with things, and not just all tell one side of them, but tell both sides, then you're really going to get people to think, and you're really going to get people to at least explore a different way of thinking. And to me, that's important. We are in a world where people don't want to explore both sides of anything, and I really want people to explore both sides of things. And just to think about it in a new way, that's a victory.
For sure. So Shonda, I actually was a part of Girl Up, and I had a Girl Up club back at home in Nebraska. And the main thing that we do as Girl Up members is just use our voices and platforms to fight for equality for people in the place that we live and for people all over the world. And as you know, there's a lot at stake in the upcoming US election, and many club members are actually holding voter registration drives and voting for the first time. I actually just submitted my mail-in ballot, which is very exciting. And
congratulations.
Yeah, it's just so exciting. I never thought that the first election that I'd vote in, I would get to vote for an Indian woman, and that's just so cool to me. So it's such an exciting thing. And yeah. But I'm wondering, Shonda, how have you been encouraging people to vote, and why is that so important to you?
I've been a part of Mrs. Obama's When We All Vote for a while now, which is an amazing way of sort of helping to rally people to vote, which she came up with. But I've also just, I worked really hard on the 2016 election, which was, I campaigned before, but this was the first time I'd really sort of been boots on the ground, really trying to get people to register to vote. And a lot of it was about the fact that I had a daughter who was asking me questions. Was starting to be of the age to really ask me questions about why it was so important and what was going on. And the more I explained to her, it's important to choose your mayor. It's important to choose your governor. It's important to choose your Senate. It's, the people who run your school board. somebody, by voting, you're choosing the person who like decides the temperature of your water. I mean, it's insane like how much voting really matters. And we don't think about that. But you're really choosing your future when you vote. And if you think about the fact that in the past, for almost everybody, somebody died for our rights to vote. I mean, literally, there's been blood shed for our rights to vote. If you're a woman, literally, if you're an American, somebody died for your right to vote. And the idea that we would take that for granted makes me so sad. So to me, like, it's so important to be counted and have your voice heard and to know that you've stood up and said, like, this is what I think. And when you do that, you're saying, I matter. And I want my kids to know that they matter. And I think that all people should think that they matter, their voice matters. And so to me, like, every time I can work on a voter PSA, or I can, work on a voter registration drive, or I can help come up with a way that's going to get people to the polls, I get excited. So, I've been doing some voter PSAs, I've been doing, a lot of voter education drives, and just doing anything I can that anybody comes up with to help get people to vote. Because I feel like even just making sure people are registered, making sure people understand how to vote is important, because a lot of that information is not easily available, the way you think it should be. Voting is powerful. Voting is your power. So I want people to have it.
Yeah, completely agree. I 100% agree. And it's just like so exciting for me to the first time to have the power to vote. I don't take it for granted. And I know it's something that, everyone fought for.
I think your generation has such a different, just a much more mature, intelligent look at the way voting is happening, the election is happening, and just a different view and activism. It's so refreshing to me, because I think, my generation, I don't think we were looking at it that way when we were your age. What do you think, why do you think your generation has this sort of unique view, and why do you think you have such a strong activism and such a strong will? Why do you think that is? Because I find it fascinating, and I think it's amazing.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is our generation has been put in a very, very difficult situation with the world that we've been given in. We have been put in a world that is literally dying, and I think that has put us in a place where there is no time for us to just talk about the issue, to think that things are just the way that they are. We bring a sense of action because we have to, and we don't have a choice. And I think like a lot of people will come and talk to me, they'll be like, oh, Gen Z is so inspiring. Like, I don't know if I completely agree with that. It's just that we don't have a choice, and we are fighting for our right to live on a breathable planet. We bring a sense of action. We bring a sense of, I'm just trying to live. and that's really why I think it is. And we've kind of honestly been put in a pretty terrible situation, and we've been forced to figure out how to deal with it, and we deal by taking action. We don't deal by complaining. We don't deal by saying, oh yeah, someone else will figure it out. We don't have time. The clock is ticking, and we don't accept the way things are.
I love that you're saying it's not that you're inspiring, it's the urgency that's making it all go. I think that's just so practical and so smart. And it's true. Like, everybody wants to sort of say like, oh, it's inspiring, it's beautiful. But what is unique is that you have a sense of urgency, and that you are aware of the sense of urgency, because I think that there's been a lot of people who, plenty of generations going on, who should be aware of the sense of urgency, who aren't. So there's a power in that too.
Yeah, it's very hard not to be with the situation that we've been put in.
I think that what's exciting to me is I'm always very interested to see what our government's going to look like in 20 years, when your generation is of the age to sort of have completely taken over. I'm truly excited about that, because I think it's going to be a very powerful, very interesting, very dynamic, and very changed government. And I'm excited for that.
I'm excited too. It's going to change the game.
Oh yeah, please change the game. Please. I will be cheering for it, and I will be a part of it as best I can. So thank you for everything.
Shonda, thank you so much for talking to me today. I really appreciated all your time and being able to have this discussion with you.
I have loved it. This is wonderful. And I think this is such an incredible organization. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens next with it, and watching it grow, and being a part of whatever happens next. It's just amazing.